Persian Gulf, international waters, late afternoon. The sea was calm. Flight ops were routine. On the deck of the USS Abraham Lincoln, FA-18 Super Hornets were launching and recovering like they had 100 times before. Nothing about the moment suggested history was about to bend. Then, the radar screens lit up. Not one, not two, 52. Those 52 missiles didn't come from a mobile launcher on a hilltop. They came from deep underground, buried beneath 40 meters of reinforced concrete in the Zagros mountain range. An Iranian Revolutionary Guard facility had been constructed over the course of years. Hardened walls, redundant power systems, ventilation shafts designed to survive direct airstrikes, a main entrance door weighing 8 tons, engineered specifically to withstand artillery impacts and conventional explosive breaching charges. Iranian military commanders believed this facility was invisible. They had reason to think so. The site was carved into remote terrain, accessible only by a single mountain road that wound for 30 kilometers through terrain almost impassable to conventional forces. There were no nearby towns, no civilian infrastructure that would draw satellite attention, no pattern of activity that would stand out to casual observation. They had spent 18 months preparing this strike, coordinating launch sequences, calculating flight windows, timing the attack for the precise moment when the Lincoln would be furthest from support assets and most exposed in the confined geography of the Gulf. The plan was built around one core belief, that no American defensive system could handle 52 simultaneous inbound threats, that even a partially successful strike would deliver catastrophic damage to the most visible symbol of American naval dominance in the region. What Iranian commanders did not know, what they could not possibly have known, was that they had already lost. 11 months. That is how long American intelligence had been watching that facility before a single missile ever left the ground. National Reconnaissance Office satellites had cataloged every phase of construction, every concrete pour, every delivery truck, every piece of equipment moved through that valley. Analysts had built a complete three-dimensional model of the site from imagery alone before a single human asset set foot inside. Signals intelligence units had intercepted communications between the facility and Revolutionary Guard headquarters in Tehran, message traffic that revealed operational protocols, garrison rotation schedules, and the command authorization chain required to initiate a launch sequence. And then there was the human intelligence layer. A CIA network had penetrated the facility's security apparatus directly. Detailed floor plans, every corridor, every room, every internal checkpoint had been passed to U.S. Central Command months before this afternoon. The Americans knew exactly what was inside that mountain. They were waiting for a reason to go get it. Comment watching below if you think this level of intelligence preparation is something most people never hear about. Aboard the Lincoln, the Aegis combat system was not waiting for human instruction. It had already begun its response. RIM-174 Standard missiles erupted from vertical launch cells in rapid succession, each rocket motor igniting with a concussive roar that rolled 6 minutes before the missile defense battle reached its peak. While the Aegis system was still processing the first wave of Iranian launches, 2 MH-60 Seahawk helicopters had departed the Lincoln on what the official flight log listed as a routine training exercise. They were not on a training exercise. SEAL Team 3, 24 operators. Combat veteran. 3:52 p.m. The Seahawks flared hard over the surface compound. 24 Navy SEALs dropped fast ropes simultaneously and slid to the ground in complete darkness. Inside the facility, Revolutionary Guard personnel were still watching radar displays, still believing the main entrance door was 8 tons of hardened steel.
designed by Iranian military engineers specifically to prevent exactly this scenario. No external access mechanism, no keypad, no handle, no vulnerability to conventional explosive charges large enough for a small unit to carry. Iranian commanders had looked at that door and concluded that any attacking.
The SEAL commander split his force into 3 assault elements as they moved down the entrance corridor. 8 operators to the barracks, 8 to the main control room, 8 to the missile launch control center. All 3 elements moved simultaneously. In the barracks, off-duty Revolutionary Guard personnel were resting, watching television intact, its personnel in custody, its launch systems offline. The men who planned that strike had spent 18 months preparing to strike a blow against American naval power in the Gulf. It took the United States Navy 31 minutes to answer. Comment below. One word. What do you think of what you just heard? Share this with someone who needs to understand what American military capability actually looks like when it moves. Subscribe so you're here for the next one, because there are more stories like this, and most of them never make the news.